Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. And as always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. And there are many ways to support the show. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. Uh, and you can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts there and some other items with designs made by friends of the show. Please follow friends of the show, Jen the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel, and when she's able, she joins me on Saturdays to co-host the show. Then also Michael Strange of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows 24/7 online for free. And also support for the show is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. So um, that covers everything. Thank you all for being here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest to getting to these true stories tonight and going from there. I am considering um, if I want to change the number of shows I do each week. Whether it'll be more or less, I don't know. I will let you all know once I figure all that out. Um, just because I'd like to keep doing as much as I can without doing too much. So, but I will announce those changes when they happen, if they happen. So, um, getting to the true stories here. This first one says, just a few minutes ago, at 4:14 a.m., I heard loud tapping about 5 or 6 times on the window near my head. I'm guessing they must have their bed near their head. No, or their bed near the window with their head facing the window. If I could talk, that'd be good. Anyway, my dog immediately reacted and began barking and growling. I know it's not in my head since she heard it also. It it specifically sounded like a person loudly and quickly tapping their finger on the glass. It couldn't be anything else. I had someone I live with check outside and around the house, but they found nothing. Either this is a person who tapped on my window and hid or ran, or this is paranormal. Either way, I'm not uh, I'm not sure. All I know is that it's real since my dog was startled. I even rewound what I was watching to listen and be sure it wasn't from the movie I had on, but it wasn't. I'm a very scheduled person. I do the same things at the same time every day. I wouldn't be surprised if a person was the culprit or a ghost of some kind. Either way, I will now be locking my windows that I've always kept unlocked before. I guess I mean there. So yeah, the tapping thing is fascinating. That one, if it's on the ground floor, it definitely could be a regular person. But the other possibility is paranormal, and I've found so many accounts of yes, words are hard. And hello, Mike, and let's see here. I think that's everyone. I think I've got everyone so far. Um, but yeah, the tapping. sounds are always strange because often in the other previous accounts I've found of people hearing that, they were on a second floor. So there was no easy access to the window for a regular person to get to. Um, Often the people would mention, "I'm on the second floor and there's no trees by the window. There's nothing that anyone could climb up easily." So um, that whole that's a pattern. I don't know what it means or why it happens. Uh, but I mean the obvious. I don't know if you want to call it an assumption, but the obvious idea is that it's someone trying to get the attention of the person inside. Uh, but as always with all these things, it's hard to know that for sure, especially if that's all that happens. So, but this is not the first time. I think it's at least the third or fourth post I found that I can think of involving tapping at a window. And of course, there's tapping on doors and walls and all those other things, but specifically the window. This is like the third or fourth time I believe I've heard of that. So, yeah, moving on to the next one here. This one says, "Hear me out. I'm a professional scientist, so I believe in the scientific method. So these events to me should have an explanation, but I don't have one. Maybe they have happened to you. Lately, both at my home and at work, I've had objects disappear and reappear. The objects are extremely visible. A a, a well labeled pill bottle and an orange screwdriver. The obvious explanation is I moved it and forgot. But here's the weird part. I have thoroughly, and I mean thoroughly, searched that exact area, but instantaneously it's gone. And then it's gone for 2 or 3 days. At the end of that time frame, and without me going into that area, that missing object is back and in that very location, like it hadn't vanished in the first place. This has happened to me multiple times with different objects, same sort of time frame. I saw a video online from David Paulides who suggested that this happened to people who disappeared somewhat instantaneously. Obviously, they didn't return, or their remains are found years later, sometimes at the site of the disappearance, sometimes elsewhere. I can't be the only person experiencing this. Any theories besides me being insane? Thank you. And that's where that one ends. Um, and it's I'm guessing this person hasn't looked into much other reports of this kind of activity because they are they're just everywhere. Um, I mean, almost every time I go looking for these true stories, I find at least one uh, account of something similar where an object goes missing, and sometimes it comes back, sometimes it never comes back. So it is a really common thing. I do also like that this person says that they're a scientist and they believe in the scientific method and all those things, but they also don't deny that these things are happening. And so I like that they're open enough to at least mention it and that they're trying to figure out what's going on. Now, what it is, I don't know. Also, for anyone, if you're looking for a sort of a huge rabbit hole to go down, missing 411. That is what David Paulides is known for, I believe, mostly. And that's all about vanishing people. Now, there's been a lot of, I've seen a lot and heard a lot over the years of debate as to how much of that is, how many of these disappearances are anomalous and how many aren't. Um, I will leave that to you all to look into further because um, there are a lot of podcasts where they cover that. And I had a couple of friends on with me at least once, I think maybe even twice, I'm not sure now, I can't remember, to talk about that whole thing. And I remember we did talk about how some of these things, some of these disappearances, they probably have ordinary, mundane, logical explanations, but then there's others, and there's other factors in some of the other disappearances that are more anomalous. So anyway, but yeah, the objects vanishing. I tell this story all the time when it comes to objects. I had a phone charger vanish on me. I knew right where I had put it. I literally felt around the place where I put it. It was not there. And I'd had other activity in my apartment before this, so I'd said out loud, if anyone can help me find my phone charger, I'd appreciate it because if my family can't reach me because my phone is out of power, they're going to come over to try to find out what's going on. And I stopped looking for a little while. A few hours later, I decided to look again, and that phone charger was right back where it had been. So I know I didn't miss it. I know I felt around the chair where I had set it. So I know I just wasn't. It wasn't just that I was not seeing it. It was not, at least not here anyway, not physically here and not visible. So, so yeah, it's a fairly common thing. But moving on to the next one here. This one says, when I was in grade 9 or 10 in a city in Calcutta, in India, something weird happened to me. All of a sudden, I started hearing someone wearing anklets, and they have a name for it that I don't know how you'd say exactly. Paayal at night. At first, it was far, far away, but slowly and steadily, the anklet sound was near me. Whenever I used to hear the sound, I covered myself and did not peep in fear of the unknown. I guess I mean their blankets. I'm not sure. This continued happening to me for a while. I don't remember for how long, as this was aeons ago, the early 2000s. But on a particular day, a friend told me she started hearing someone wearing anklets the night before. And coincidentally, that was the same night I stopped hearing it. I lost touch with that friend as I changed schools. This, however, has intrigued me ever since. I'm sure I wasn't hallucinating or hearing other sounds. Not sure if something was just passing by. Anyone had any similar experiences? What do you think of my experience? And that's where that one ends. That one is fascinating because I remember, I don't know, months back now. It was not too long ago. I found another post from someone else who said that in their family, the women in their family would wear these or something similar, some kind of an anklet, and they and their sister heard that sound one night. I think it was them and their sister, and they but there was no one there. But then eventually they did see something through the crack beneath the door, and freaked them out, and they ended up leaving the room. But so I wonder, is there some? I don't know. Does Are the anklets important in a way, or is it just something that's common enough, or at one point in time was common enough in that part of the world? Because it was in I think it was in India or somewhere in that part of the world where this other story happened, this other experience happened. So, is there some kind of symbolic significance to the anklets, or is it just that at one point in time it was common enough for people to wear them that when people have encounters with either ghosts or spirits or people from another time, some kind of time anomaly, that's what they hear because that's what people would wear. So again, I don't have any answers here, but this is the second time now I've found a post about the sound of these anklets, these almost like, I guess it's a bracelet, but for the ankle, that area, instead of for the wrist, like you would I've heard about before. So really fascinating that now we have a couple of accounts of something similar. People having similar experiences. Also, the fact that it stopped for this person that wrote this post and then started for a friend of theirs, that is also fascinating. And I feel like, so there's one parallel to that. There's a story I found, true story I found and shared on the show, also months ago, I believe, where um, a person, when they were a child, they saw, I think it was a woman in white, some kind of apparition anyway, and they went to school the next day, and one of their friends told them, I saw this figure, and the timing worked out where as soon as it vanished from the first person's home, it appeared in the second person's home. Really creepy. I don't know what that means. If I mean, what the purpose is for that, but yeah, it's always fascinating when you have these occurrences that happen to one person and then another person, and you can sort of track it. Moving on to the next one here. This one says, I am a total non believer, and I realize that bit of information won't endear myself to this community. But I thought I'd share this personal experience anyway. Be warned, it's not very exciting. There's no poltergeist activity, nor is there any direct contact with an entity. It's just something that I felt after my mother's death. On the day my mother died, I was sitting in my living room watching who knows what on TV when I felt a presence in my home. It was highly localized. It seemed to be hovering over my right shoulder, above me. I didn't feel like Mom was looking over me, although that was my first uh, perception. It lasted for 3 days, and then it was gone. I wish I had the words to describe these feelings and episodes in greater detail, but the words are failing me at this time. All I can say is that it was there, and then it was gone. I have told the story to some of my friends and relatives over the years, and I always get told that it was my mom watching over me and or saying goodbye. It felt so close, as if I could simply raise my right arm to grasp it, like it was in another dimension I couldn't coexist with. Anyway, I've convinced myself that it was just my mind at work, dealing with the loss of the person I felt closest to my entire life. Has anyone else experienced anything like this before? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and that's where that one ends. Looking at the chat here, um, Mattel has a comment here I wasn't aware of, so this is fascinating. Uh, Mattel says anklets are for protection and strength. It is for grounding and earth magic regarding one of the previous stories here I shared tonight. Not true stories. So that's fascinating. That makes sense. Um, so maybe it's a good thing, even though it was probably freaky to hear. Maybe it was a positive thing after all to have that experience. Also, this true story I just read, it reminds me of this one thing I had happen years ago. I had just put out my first nonfiction paranormal book. Or I was going to, and I didn't have the copies as at the time I thought I was going to have them, and I was worried they weren't going to arrive in time for this book signing I had scheduled in town where I live. And I was all freaked out. I didn't know if they were going to get here in time. I didn't know what I was going to do if they didn't get here. And so I was worried about all these things this one day, and I fell asleep sitting in my chair, and I felt like someone hugged me, and I could feel that it was my grandma who had passed away years earlier, and it was a very comforting feeling. And I woke up from that after it passed and went away, feeling like whatever happened, it was going to work out. And if coincidentally or not, I kind of feel like not, but who knows? The books did arrive early, and earlier than they were supposed to, and they came in time for the signing. So, yeah, I don't know if that part was my grandma having some effect on the physical world in that way, but at the very least, I do feel like she came to comfort me at that time, and yeah, it worked, and I was relaxed, and I just figured, well, we'll deal with it, whatever happens, and it all worked out okay. So, I do believe those things can happen, and so yeah, that was to me that was always fascinating. Another little thing, since we don't have time to read another true story here. Before that, I had ordered some flyers to promote the book signing from this UPS store, and I ordered them online. And the day I went to pick them up, and then I got there, it was like I ordered them on a Friday, went and picked them up on a Monday or something like that. And I got there, and they knew what I was talking about. They knew about the order. They could not find the flyers anywhere. And two of the three people that had been there, the only three people that had been there the whole weekend, were there that day, and they could not find these things anywhere. So they had to make a whole new batch of flyers, and they were freaked out. And I was trying not to laugh because to me it was just paranormal. It was just something someone hid those took those flyers away, and yeah, I don't know what happened to them, but it was kind of it cracked me up because here these are flyers for a paranormal book signing, and they're gone. So anyway, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.